What's up, everyone? My name is Justin Odisho. Welcome back to my podcast. Today on the show, we have Eric. He goes by the name of the College Picker on YouTube and Instagram. I've been following his channel for several years, and I wanted to bring him on because he's all into thrifting. We're going to talk about thrifting, buying and selling stuff on different platforms like eBay, Facebook Marketplace. And also, he makes videos on YouTube as well on a variety of different. Lately, he's been getting into printers, but also in his travels, in his thrifting adventures on what he's buying and selling. And I think it's interesting because Eric right now is sitting at about, I think like 20 or 30,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah, just about to cross over 30 within the next month or two.
Yeah. So it's not like one of those, it's not like a typical interview where the person has like hundreds of thousands and millions of subscribers. They're making their full income off videos. I think this one's going to be interesting because the way that you're using YouTube and incorporating making videos with a bunch of other interest and kind of side things you do. And I'm assuming that, well, I guess why don't we just break into it? Thanks for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me on the show. Am I supposed to look at the camera? Am I supposed to look at you? Like
No,
this
just look
is
at me. It's fine. It looks better actually if you look at the person because it's weird. The first one I did, I was like looking at the camera and I was like, this looks weird.
But I hope to be able to bring something to your audience, regardless of my small subscriber count and my lack of creative skills on Adobe.
Well, I think, actually, I think you're definitely gonna, and I think that is what's gonna bring value because not everyone can relate to people with 100,000 plus subscribers. And I mean, I've been following your channel for a while, and you,
I was so surprised. I got a notification that you subscribed, and I was like, "This guy has to do like the sub for sub thing," because you had I think like 200 or 300,000 subscribers at the time. I was like, "You're either hiring somebody from India to go sub and unsub, or you have some sort of program or something." I was like, "Why would this guy?" I think I had maybe like 4 or 5,000 subscribers at the time.
yeah. Well, I also enjoy thrifting and stuff,
Then it
but
made sense, yeah.
but I think regardless of like the metric count, you have been making videos and uploading them for like what, a decade?
Oh gosh, yeah, close to it. And finally getting traction after maybe like 67 years of like nothingness.
Yeah, so I definitely think you there's a ton we could talk about, but
Yeah,
why don't we,
trial and error beyond belief.
well, why don't we get into like why you started YouTube in the first place? Some of your first videos are talking about making money online and using eBay. It's gotten so popular now, I think that,
Yeah,
but it seems like you've been doing this for a
sure.
decade.
So, yeah, back in the day, there wasn't really a community around me that sold anything or like it was the flip. There was no R Reddit flipping or any community. There was no Instagram community really. Well, I don't even think Instagram was around actually back in was it
I feel like
2011 maybe
yeah,
2012 something like
it
that.
was just starting, I feel like.
And just having no community, I wanted to just kind of try to put stuff out there and be part of something. And I think there was maybe like 5 or 6 guys on YouTube that were like posting videos, and we would just chat in the comments about the finds. And I actually ended up meeting some of them in real life, and I'm still friends with them to this day. So finding that sense of community is kind of like where it started, and just seeing like I don't know where it would go. I guess it was a little bit of documentation, but I didn't know that's what it was called at the time. So just kind of throwing it out.
Yeah, so like you started, well, how did you even start like buying and selling and reselling and thrifting and whatnot? Because that seems like it came even before making videos about it.
Yeah. So, like back in college, undergrad, the parking situation on campus was like so expensive and crazy to find a parking spot was difficult. And then the cost for parking per semester was like $250 or something. But I noticed like the motorcycle parking was always empty. It was always super close to class. And the parking permit was only $40 a semester. So I like told my roommates, "Hey, you want to like go get our motorcycles licenses and just get bikes so we can commute to class?" Like I did more research. Like they get crazy good gas mileage, and it's just I don't know. You're young. You feel cool riding a motorcycle or a scooter or something, I guess. So we went and did that. I bought my first motorcycle. It was a Ninja 250. I think it was late 90s, or maybe early. Yeah, it had to have been late 90s because I got it for like $1,000 off of Craigslist. Back when Craigslist was like the only place to go to before Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp. There was no OfferUp, Let Go. It was all Craigslist. scams and filtering through all that stuff. So I bought a motorcycle, rode it around for a couple months, and then did a little bit of work to it myself, and then sold it. And I ended up making a profit on it. And I was like, really? Like this thing I bought from a marketplace, put it back on a marketplace, I used, and I made money off of it. So we started doing motorcycles, flipping motorcycles at our like little residence of, I don't know, it was like a shared household with a garage, and we would fix them like from forums, reading from forums about problems and
Yeah, I was gonna say,
learning.
how did you become a
Yeah,
mechanic?
there was no YouTube back then with all the how DIY how to content. Just there was no archived anything other than forums. So I would just read forums and trial and error and learn like little things here and there. And once you have a foundation, you can kind of figure out a lot of it just off of that. And we would flip motorcycles over and over again. And then I moved to go to pharmacy school, and I was on the second floor of an apartment and no longer could buy motorcycles and put them in a garage. I had to kind of figure out something. So I started going to like thrift stores and garage sales.
So, did you have? I'm assuming you're paying your way through school and whatnot. You went to school for pharmacy technician, or what was it?
Pharmacist.
Oh, pharmacist.
Yeah,
Okay, so
most people think it's pharmacy technician school,
I
but
don't know.
yeah,
That's the only
I'm a
thing.
licensed pharmacist in Florida and Texas now.
Okay, so that's interesting because I wanted to get into, like, you started flipping. This is kind of how I got into buying and selling too. Like when I was in college, I was working part time and I always enjoyed it, but I would buy and sell clothes just for fun and to make some extra money. So was flipping, did it turn into your like full time working through college to pay through college thing, or were you
I
supplementing
went
it?
loans. I didn't have a job. I didn't have parents' money or anything, so I took out student loans. I had scholarships for undergrad, so it was kind of like fun money for undergrad. And then once I went to pharmacy school, I had to start taking out loans
Yeah.
just to pay for the tuition. Tuition got more expensive, and then the all the scholarships got exhausted. So it was more of like fun money rather than like paying through my way through school. So I graduated with like over $80,000 in debt after interest and everything, something like that.
Yeah, I think I saw a post on your Instagram about that you finally got debt free.
Yeah, it was a
That was another thing I
huge
wanted to get
milestone.
into.
Yeah, I recommend it for anyone that has student loan debt or credit card debt, just to try to get rid of it, because it's a huge weight lifted off your shoulders. Like when you don't have to make those payments and you're not making somebody else rich.
Yeah. The other thing, like besides, there's so much we can get into because like thrifting and um, I feel like it goes along with like finance and kind of this um, I don't know if frugal is the right word, but
No, yeah,
economic
the whole frugal
lifestyle.
movement. Frugal's cool now, so it's okay to say frugal.
Well, and I don't think it's a bad word, but what would you describe it? Do you consider yourself like I don't know, like these people, like the zero waste people that like
The finance space people, or like
well,
the
there's the fire people, like the retire early.
yeah,
What
the
does it stand
fire
for?
financial independent,
Yeah. But
early
then there's
retirement.
also like people who are like really just environmentally economic, like zero waste people.
I wouldn't say I'm like on the either side of the spectrum like completely. I do enjoy the fact that it is good for the environment. It's green. Uh, Already the carbon expenditures have already happened for the produced goods, and it's giving a home. But it's also really nice that you're saving a bunch of money doing it too. So
Yeah. Well,
it
yeah.
it really is like the best of both worlds for it.
Yeah. And vintage stuff is cooler, honestly.
Oh, it really is. It's built better. Like the styles are better. There a lot of times the materials are like nicely worn in, and the prices are amazing if you're getting them for like the low. But if you're paying the vintage eBay prices, then you're gonna be paying dropping hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars on certain shirts.
Yeah. Well, because you have these. So let's talk about actually thrifting then. Well, you said fun money. I think that's really important, whether it is something. I had the same sort of epiphanies. Like when you're working a job for money, you're working hourly and it's like, it's definitely not fun money. But you might work 3 times as hard for half as much money. But if it's doing something that you enjoy, there is something that clicks in your head that's like, wait, this is free money. Because I remember that's what happened with me. Like, um, I don't know. I think I was selling some Photoshop designs or the first time I just like bought and sold something, just like stuff that I would do for fun. It would be less than me working, but it feels like free money. So let's talk about like after you got into thrifting more, how was that like? Did you have to learn? What was the learning experience like?
So this was pre super smartphones too. So the learning curve was pretty bad. Like I would buy stuff and then bring it home and find out that it wasn't as valuable as I might have thought it was, and have to either break even, take a loss, or donate it back. But yeah, it's just trial and error, figuring out, doing your research beforehand or while you're at the stores. I had a friend I would call when I was there, and he would look stuff up on eBay while I was at the store sometimes if he was free. And it's just like a huge learning curve with all the brands. You worked at Nordstrom, so you probably had a huge catalog of brands in your head from just seeing and racking stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't hurt. I was also just into like weird niche Japanese brands and stuff.
Oh, so
I,
you would probably kill it in denim.
yeah,
Like,
well, what was happening was like I liked this cool like Japanese brand, but it was like too expensive for me. So I would scour the internet and find like such a good deal that I could buy one for myself and flip some.
what brand is it?
Just random brands that there's other arbitrage that you can do online, like where you could find something that's like 70% clearance because it's like turquoise blue or something, and they're selling it because it's like, I don't know, last season.
Yeah,
And
they
then you
they,
could,
ha- they have their markdowns where they just clear it out.
or like one size left. And I've even done stuff where I've bought it online for like these like small local retail shops that have websites, but most people might not visit,
Mm-hmm.
and then sold it on places like eBay, Grailed, or Depop, which
Yeah,
have the specific marketplace for these certain hype brands. I don't know. It's
you've been doing online arbitrage. That's what it's called in the like flipping space. They call that online arbitrage, where you're
yeah.
buying these stuff online and then flipping it back online.
But I've definitely like gone to thrift stores and like, found a Patagonia fleece, but it is hard. Like sometimes I would buy something and then thrift stores are starting to price it higher too. It would be like $10 at the thrift store, then you put it on eBay for 20, but then eBay takes 20% plus shipping, and then all of a sudden you broke even. I mean, what do you look for when you are going to buy versus not buy?
So either a past experience, something that I've sold in the past or heard of on Instagram from somebody. So either my past experience or somebody else's past experience that I've kind of consumed content from. And then I'll look at quality. I'll look at what their price is. Condition is huge. Brand is huge. Material, whatever it's made out of, is huge, because certain materials have like an inherent value that's higher than others. For instance, like a cotton shirt from a certain brand, or maybe like a leather. There are leather shirts, like super thin, like suede leather shirts. Like a leather shirt from a certain brand already has that inherent material value that could make it marked up more than what just a cotton shirt from another brand would be. So there's a whole like world of things to look for. Country of origins, country manufacturers. I think I already said craftsmanship, but quality is huge. Can take you so far in it. Just recognizing quality and figuring to separate that from the trash, which is like 99.9% of the stuff out there.
Yeah. And I think this gets into, what would you say to the angle of like, oh, well, you're going into the thrift store, you're buying all the stuff that you're not actually going to use, and you're reselling for profit. Have you considered this angle or have you seen this angle that people might get mad at?
Oh yeah, the hate angle, because you're taking it away from people in need.
Yeah, I mean, I have my view on that, but what's your view on that?
So the people that hate on that don't understand like how thrift stores help people in need. Yes, there's the store factor of it, where people are buying cheap goods, and then there's the back end where they're employing people with special needs. They're going to build houses for people that need houses, and they need income for that. So by me buying from that thrift store, regardless of what I'm doing with the item, it's going to go to all those, whatever charity you're going to, what organization, it's going to go to those uses. And I'm not buying everything from the thrift store. I'm buying a fraction of a percent of a percent. So if I buy one designer shirt or two designer pairs of boots, that's not taking anything away from somebody that needs a pair of boots. There are plenty of boots, and the function of just covering your feet. Yeah, there's plenty of inventory at the thrift stores for that. So by me cherry picking something and bringing it to a different market, I have zero like conscious obligation to like not do it at all.
Yeah.
But I have
Yeah.
there's no guilt, zero guilt. I've played that game before, and there's haters are just, they don't understand.
Well, I agree. And the other thing too is like, yeah, like you are in some ways you're saving, like let's say there's some really special pair of jeans that someone might not know and might just take and cut up for like a crafts project, but you're you are providing the service of allowing someone in Germany or someone who wanted it to who wasn't able to go to that thrift store in wherever America to buy that special pair of item for them to wear. And it's not like there isn't 100 other pair of jeans for someone who just wanted jeans to cover the
Exactly.
pants.
Just needed the
Yeah.
material to chop it up or to wear or whatever. So
So that's where I think you do deserve to, I guess, I mean, make money as the middleman.
yeah.
That's the
Is that a
service you're
common
providing.
misconception? Do people like talk smack about people
No,
that
I
are
just like
thrifting for profit?
I don't think so. I like to just approach all the angles, I think, because I don't know. One thing I do see is like people scanning books. Like and like because I go to library sales a lot. Basically now when I go to thrift store, I just like go through the book section, and I think people hate on this book scanning people. And
Booksellers.
I kind of can get why, because with books it's more of like a passionate thing, like you're taking away a book from a child who might want to read. But and even some stores, like when you go to a library sale, it'll say, you know, scanners welcome or scanners not welcome.
Oh, really? I
Usually
haven't
it's
gotten into
scanners
like I've
welcome.
sold books, but I haven't gotten into it at scale where I'm like scanning and have all the software and everything like the Amazon book guys.
I think it's about the respect for the product, which you seem to have. It's like, are you just buying in bulk, throwing away whatever doesn't make profit? And like, it's not like that. You respect the craftsmanship. You respect, and honestly, if anyone follows you on Instagram, which I think people should, you can learn a lot about like the history almost, or like the craftsmanship of different brands, and like, you know, Patagonia through the years, or two when it's true. I always see you post.
That actually started from like a skateboarding thing. Like you would skate, and then if you hit the trick and then you did it again, you would say two and it's true. And then I just took that and put it into thrifting.
What does that mean for thrifting?
It just means you found like two of the same item or two of the same whatever. Because the thing is like normally people donate in bulk, right? So it's like if you have a closet, normally you have two of the same brand or two of the same style, but in different colors, you know. But then you donate it, and then someone's going to go to the thrift store, and if you find one, normally you're going to find two.
Yeah. So you
More
know
often than
it's
not. It depends on the brand and whatnot, but it happens a lot.
okay. So the other thing is once you take, okay, you go to the thrift store. Back then there was only eBay, right? And it's not like you had your phone. Like now I can just go on my phone, look at sold
Oh,
lists.
it's so easy now. It's so easy.
There's probably a lot of competition now, but there's also all these new platforms. Like there's eBay, Etsy, Depop, Facebook Marketplace.
Poshmark's huge for clothes.
What's your view on like when to use the different ones, or which ones are you in favor of? And also you have like online shipping versus in-person meetups. What have you been kind of gravitating towards?
It totally depends on the item. So each platform kind of has its specific audience, and eBay's been around the longest. So I believe their user base is the biggest. They've penetrated into global markets. So if you have something that you want a global market for, that would be usually where I would go, would be to go to eBay. Poshmark is clothing, and I think they have home goods now, and it's mostly women's eyes on there. So women's clothing tends to do better on Poshmark. Even with the name Posh, like you would want to sell kind of nicer things there. Brand new with tags is what my wife does. She does the online arbitrage with brand new with tag stuff on Poshmark. So exactly what you were talking about. Like I've been just watching her buy these clearance markdowns and then flip them on Poshmark for, I don't know, anywhere between 50 to 100% profit sometimes, or maybe like 30% on the low end. But so Poshmark, yeah, for like women's clothes, obviously big, huge items you're not going to want to ship. You're going to want to try to go locally. So that would be like Facebook Marketplace. You could do OfferUp or Letgo. I think OfferUp actually and Letgo are the same now. It's combined. There's another one called Nextdoor, which is another kind of Craigslist-y people around you kind of thing. So big bulky items you would want to go locally if possible. And then Depop, and I've never sold on Grailed, but Depop and Grailed kind of seems like a younger hippie, not hippie, but like
Yeah.
streetwear
Yeah.
hip crowd,
Yeah.
I guess, like
Yeah. I
those
think so.
Gen Zs. And then Etsy, I've thrown stuff on Etsy that for vintage clothing because Etsy does have the global penetration. They've been around for pretty long, and they actually have less fees. So sometimes I'll throw vintage stuff on Etsy and build a little Etsy shop. So it just totally depends on the item.
I feel like the local meetup, like let's say whenever I want to help like a relative or like my parents sell something, I feel like they're much more let's sell this like, hey, help me sell my old washing machine or help me sell
Oh yeah, you're
my
gonna have to do
couch.
the
And
local for
you have to
that.
do locals. What are some, I mean, I feel like I've seen you on Instagram going a bunch of local meetups. What are some tips that you can give people on what to do and what not to do when listing for local meetup? Like safety tips, also, pricing and negotiation tips. How do you not get scammed
Oh, I
and
just got scammed.
I think I saw that, so we
Yeah.
should bring it up. Well, how do
Don't
you
do
not get scammed and how do you get your money's worth out of something and make everyone happy?
So you got to figure out your price point for your local market, and without experience that's kind of hard to figure out, but you can kind of gauge if you know the brand of the washing machine and the condition and the brand of the couch. Usually you could look up what the currently active market is, so I would look that up. And then make sure you take good photos because that's all the people are going to see. You're going to want good pictures. You're not going to want to take a picture of a couch with a bunch of dogs laying on it because that might not be what somebody wants, is a bunch of dog hair on their couch. Definitely like highlight the positives about it. If it came from a smoke-free, pet-free home, good pictures. Like I said, good pictures are the best thing that you can do. Finding your price point, and then you can always go high, right? You can always like price too high and then somebody will come and negotiate. But once you price too low and somebody like is immediately coming to get it, it's kind of hard to walk back from that. You'd be like, cancel and then relist it. And then the person's going to see that you put it up for, I don't know, $100 or $200 more. And then you got to realize, like, are you trying to get rid of the item and you don't care about how much money you're making, or are you actually trying to squeak out like how much money? Because sometimes just getting rid of stuff is more important to people than actually making or getting close to breaking even on stuff. So try to figure out the family members' goals of getting rid of that item and what they would be okay with. Do your market research, create a good listing, good description, good pictures, and staying safe. You have to put into context of the item. So someone's not really going to try to scam you as much for a couch if they're meeting up locally. If they're going to start talking like cashier's checks and like cousin's going to come pick it up, out of town, going to pay you like this deposit and if they're like fishing for information, more than likely it's a scam. If the profiles are brand new and it's like stock images of people, you can do like reverse Google searches on people's pictures and see if they just pulled it off of Google or something, to see if that's a fake stock image. A brand new profile is a red flag. And whenever you meet up, you're supposed to meet up in public. You're supposed to not let people come to your house, but of course with like furniture and stuff, that's kind of gonna have to happen. So you kind of just have to look at their profile and judge them as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Have somebody with you. If you're at home alone, when you meet up in a public place in a well-lit area, hopefully with cameras. And if you're selling a Nintendo Switch at night, don't hand it to them through the door, the window of the car, and have them drive off with it. So
Is that so you had someone drive off with a Nintendo Switch on?
yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. I've done hundreds, if not thousands of local deals. and never had this happen to me. And I moved to Dallas and have somebody totally take advantage of my like trusting kindness.
Yeah.
Because I've done deals through car windows before. Because with coronavirus, some people don't want to come out of their cars. They're like weird about it. I've had women buy laptops from me that don't want to get out, maybe because they're afraid of me. Someone said like, don't get out of your car if it's a guy. Like, I don't know, but I've sold stuff to people through windows of cars before. Perfectly fine. But this guy took his plates off, was super sketch. Now that I look back at the messages, like it's red flags all over. He was in a hurry. He was talking about like needing to get back to work. So he was creating this urgency. It was just total like red flag all over. And he just decided to give me a stack of cash that was only $30 instead of $350 and drive off with it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's there's definitely something to like just trusting, and then sometimes you will get taken advantage of, but I forgot the quote, but you'd rather, that's the price you pay for like living your life,
believing in humanity. Yeah, I get all these messages on Instagram. They're like, you're such an idiot, you need to be more careful, you need to be more cautious of people, like you need to not trust anybody. I'm like, I don't want to lose that. I trust most people, and if it costs me $350 every 10 years, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like as long as you're mostly okay, it's like it's a once in a while thing, and it's better than living your whole life as like a skeptical, angry person.
Yeah, I don't want to just be cynical and thinking the worst of everybody. I'm definitely gonna be smarter about it. I should have judged his profile a little harder, because there were a lot of pictures that were red flags, maybe holding handguns and assault rifles in his pictures and holding cash and all the gang related things. I probably should have judged that a little bit harder, but I try not to judge.
What about some times where you've had unexpectedly nice interactions with strangers for some opposite? Anyone invited you into their home for dinner?
No, I've never been invited to the home for dinner. I want to say somebody's maybe like given me more money. It had to have happened before at some point, where somebody gave me like an extra $5 for delivery or something. I met up with somebody last year, and she was going to pay full price for a laptop, and I was feeling generous, and I just gave her the laptop for free. She cried. She was so happy. I judged her profile. She didn't look like she had a bunch of money. She wanted to knock me on the price, but I told her no, because I wanted that, like, okay, I'm going to pay the full price. Like because she said something like single parent, needed it for her daughter. So she was trying to knock me on the price, but I wanted to like stand firm. And then if she was going to pay it, I was just going to give her the laptop. So I gave her the laptop.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And you can afford to do that sometimes when maybe like you've got all this inventory, and sometimes you just want to get rid of stuff, or like, it's not like you bought everything at full price either,
Yeah. I had maybe $10 or $15 into the laptop, from a pawn shop. And then it was maybe a $180 to $200, sale. And then I had sold so many laptops to where I was like, I'm so blessed with this. I'm going to bless this person and just give it to them for free, because they seem like they're struggling a little bit.
That's a heartwarming story. More people.
Oh yeah, she was crying. It was making me cry.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think lately I used to just sell stuff, but now if it's under a certain amount of time, I will just donate it, because if you really think about the time that it's taking me to like list and make $10, I just put it all in a big bag, donate it, and consider it, just because I could be like recording a new podcast episode or working on a new video that
yeah, you have to have your dollar amount, and over time my dollar amount has climbed. Like I usually don't pick up items from thrift stores unless it's super easy to send into Amazon to sell, or to make me at least like a $50 plus profit. Usually is my price point. I'm trying to hit over $50 sales.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Maybe not when you're just starting out, but I do have relatives or family that are like, just come to my basement and let's just list everything. Let's garage sell everything.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, there probably is like hundreds of dollars of stuff in there, but it's going to take like a month to do all that,
Yeah.
So I don't know. But what about buying? Here's another one. Like, so I think I like buying books a lot. So I buy like 90% of my books used. I think people probably have a kind of stigma around like, this has germs on it, or like this is dirty, or like, especially with clothes and especially with shoes. Like, what is something that you won't buy used or
I
won't buy
mean,
it.
I'm pretty open to it because like I don't know. I go on trips where I like sleep on the floor outside and I'll not shower for days and days at a time when I'm on one of my bike trips. So for me, it's like I think at a threshold that's like way higher than the normal person. But usually you think with clothes, the thing is people don't donate from their hamper. They're donating from their closet with clean clothes most of the time, especially if it's quality stuff. Like that person's going to have the common sense like not to donate like filthy clothes. They're going to donate things that are cleaned,
Mhm.
or at least been washed and laundered. For shoes, not so much. But if it's like a quality shoe, you can spray it down and sanitize it, wash it in hot water if you want to do that. But for me, I have such a high threshold. I think I'm an awful candidate for that.
Well, you're still alive, right? You've never had any
Yeah, I
diseases
mean,
or
maybe
bugs.
no, I haven't had any like lice or bed bug encounters, but I have heard stuff from like horror stories from that kind of stuff,
What are some
just to scare
precautions?
everybody off from thrifting.
What do you wash? Like as soon as you buy something, you wash it, you disinfect it, whatever.
Uh, Not really.
You're like
Like,
not me.
I'm wearing a pair of pants that I bought from Salvation Army right now, and I didn't wash them before I put them on.
I
But
think did they wash them there before?
no, they don't. But like I said, people are going to donate stuff that's laundered. They're not going to donate stuff that's from their hamper. So the stores don't wash it. It would put way too much time into it. And some stores are just cleaner than others. They really are. Like they take in nicer stuff, or they separate the super nasty stuff and just like don't even put it on the floor and just put it in a Gaylord and send it on to wherever the next place down the inventory line is. I think eventually stuff gets exported to like Mexico and to Asia, if it's like sits here forever.
Yeah, I know that there's the regular Salvation Armies, and then there's the bins that are just like by the pound, and then I guess it just
Yeah, the
gets.
weigh and pay places are kind of like the next step if stuff is too dirty, or those places you got to wear gloves. Those places you're gonna have to sanitize this stuff a lot more, and more so than the regular stores. But I don't know. I'm not picky about it. Like I have a pair of used shoes right here that I just picked up today on the way home.
Yeah, I think that's really cool to know. Like maybe not everyone can go with their comfort level, but you know, on
I've
the
never gotten sick. I've been doing it for over a decade.
yeah, on the economical side of things, like if you're worried about buying a used book or maybe buying a used jacket, like it's like you can make it work. Um,
Yeah.
but what about furniture? Like,
Oh yeah, furniture is gonna it doesn't get much personal use, right? Like you're not getting a bunch of skin cells and like hair follicles on your furniture. It's all gonna be just sitting in somebody's house or whatever. But yeah, we just recently moved here and we've thrifted Facebook Marketplace like all of our furniture.
as
This
a
back
that
here,
that
Facebook Marketplace.
yeah, those all. I think especially Facebook Marketplace, you probably just have like moms and like stuff selling stuff.
People
Um,
moving out, mom selling stuff, and just stuff is, I don't know, it's like it's so plentiful, and people, it helps somebody else out when you're getting it from them too. So
Yeah. It's nice. Like I hate certain things. It just feels wrong buying new, especially like a book. Like a, a new book is like $25, and you can find a used book for like $1.
and
You
people are
know.
sneezing all over those books when they're reading them.
But you mentioned something on your channel. You have a lot of videos of you biking and traveling, and sometimes incorporating thrifting, but like biking across Japan and kind of having this nomadic lifestyle. What made you bike across Japan? Which I've been to Japan. I love Japan. It's a
My
sounds really
wife,
fun.
well, my girlfriend at the time wanted to go to Japan, and I was like, if I'm gonna go to Japan, I'm gonna bring my bike. The visa's there 3 months. Like I'm gonna stay there and get my money's worth out of that ticket. So I've done bike trips in the past, so I'm very experienced doing bike travel. Where your audience probably has no idea what a bike touring is, but it's like when you pack up a bike with all your stuff, like your sleeping bag, your sleeping pad, and you're kind of like self-supported, and you go on a trip, an adventure. So I had plenty of experience in that, so I was like really wanting to look forward to doing it in Japan once she gave me like the go ahead that we were going. So I was just like brought my bike there, and invited a friend, and yeah, just it's such a safe country too. So it's like a great place to do it.
Do you so have you thrifted and done the same buying and selling thing internationally, or not really when you were
Oh,
out
we
there?
stopped at a bunch of the secondhand shops in Japan. Yeah. Whenever I travel to another country, like that's on my bucket list is to look at their secondhand market. Either if it's like a flea market, like I've been to the flea markets in Thailand. They have secondhand vintage markets in Thailand that are pretty cool. I've been to those. When I go to Central or South America, they have stores that are called like Ropa Americana, and that's I think when they import all that stuff that doesn't get sold from thrift stores, they sell it, or maybe they import them from other people that they're picking them. I don't know exactly how they acquire their inventory, but I always try to make that like part of my goal is to see like what the secondhand market scene's going on in those. Like I was in England. I don't even know. It was pre-COVID. I did a bike trip in the UK, and I went to their op shops or thrift stores, charity shops, I think what they call them. And I actually put some stuff in my bike bags and brought it back home and sold it over here for profit.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What has been? I have so much I want to ask you, but I don't want to keep you all day. But what's been your best like flip or find or one of your coolest stories? And also like what on you right now is that mic thrifted? Is
The
that
mic is thrifted. It's still got the tags on it from
okay? That's
Goodwill.
really cool. I like that because you have a lot of people, especially like maybe even in my audience, that are like need like
Yeah,
I can't
almost my
afford.
entire production setup is secondhand. The webcam I went and got today, but I usually have a thrifted webcam, but I sold them all because they skyrocketed during COVID when
Mm.
everyone went to Zoom and office meetings and whatnot from webcams. So those I sold out all my webcams. Microphones thrifted, paid $6.99 for this. I keep the tag on it for the badge of honor. The laptop's from a pawn shop. It's a 2019 MacBook Pro 15-inch i9 processor. It was probably like a $35 or $3,800 computer just a little over a year ago, and I paid I think $800 for it, something like that. You've seen me pick up G7Xs. Whenever I pick up a camera on my Instagram story, you're always like
Yeah, that's a
sending
good
me
point.
like the fire swipe up or something.
Yeah, especially so if anyone wants like more technical guides, like definitely just follow Eric on Instagram or and YouTube
Yeah, I
and
try to put a little. Instagram's really like where I put a little piece of everything out there. YouTube is very how-to tutorials right now, like a lot of hardware and software tutorials, like installation for stuff. And it's taken me like a decade to evolve into that. Like it really has. And I'm finally, after like a year of after like 10 years, but a year of doing this type of content, like seeing success. So
yeah. How have you found so you've experimented from like all types of life hacks and thrifting and flipping and I think you just kind of hit on something in this market with like uh doing printer
yeah,
tutorial.
printers and shipping, like especially with ecom, with COVID, people are staying at home, and ecom's getting even more popular because everyone wants to start a at home business, and a lot of people don't know anything about shipping. So I was bringing content, like teaching people about shipping rather than showing them a vlog about my life. Like the vlogs are cool. I like doing vlogs because it's a great documentation that I can show my grandkids. Like, yo, your grandpa did this. This was pretty fun. This was pretty cool. But the bringing value in an educational way it has its I don't know, I guess like inherent value itself, and
Yeah.
it's really been better for monetarily and just like with channel growth, I guess.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Like not everyone wants to just watch your day, but if you're able to help someone with something that they're having a problem with consistently, then it is a little bit more sustainable and would could provide more growth, I think. But so where you're at right now, like how would you break down how you're able to make a living and have a and like do your lifestyle versus because in between like YouTube and flipping and you are still a licensed pharmacist, like what's your breakdown? Because I think a lot of people
Like
think of like
income, like my income pie, or
I guess like yeah, like how you're able to sustain your life because a lot of people I think go like all or nothing YouTube, you know, or like all in YouTube or nothing or bust, you know.
Yeah. I went like a lot of different income ways. They always say don't put all your eggs in one basket. So don't throw like everything at YouTube. But if you did do that and you have like the talent for it, then it'll probably happen if you go hard enough, long enough. For me personally, I didn't see success at YouTube for years and years and years. Um, but I right now I do we are we going like over income streams or
Yeah, you don't have to like. I just think it would be valuable for someone to know like, um, yeah, like different income
hedge your
streams.
risk? Like you can hedge your risk different ways. You can hedge your risk with selling physical products from thrift stores and garage sales. Gary Vee's super popular right now. They probably like I'm sure your audience has popped onto Gary Vee.
Yeah, he's been doing the garage sale things
Yeah,
for
the
a couple
garage
of
sale
years.
stuff. Gary Vee's really good at getting people excited. He's not really good at showing like the nitty gritty about it. And I think that's what I bring to Instagram is showing like a lot more nitty gritty specific tips rather than just like buy every mug you see at a
Yeah.
garage sale. Like I try to say like you want to get like 1% of 1% of the mugs because most mugs are not going to be worth your time of anything. So,
Yeah.
but if you have enough things in your brain, you usually can find something, and it's just figuring all that out over time. Um,
So how would you
but yeah,
say
hedge your risk.
are you like like, okay, so would you say most income coming from flipping and then a little bit from YouTube and then
It shifted completely. I've just been putting more time into YouTube, so more has been coming from YouTube, and I've been putting less time into eBay and Amazon. Amazon used to be the most for me at one point of my life when I was like going super hard. It's whatever I go super hard into. So Amazon or eBay, but it's actually scaled back. I'm getting way more off of anything generated from YouTube right now than even from flipping stuff.
that's really cool. Yeah. So
Yeah,
you've been
it's
able to balance.
finally shifted to where, and I like see, okay, well, I put this one video out and it's been paying me for years, and I think thrifting was actually like holding me back from creating YouTube content because I would always want to go thrift, and I like kind of went overboard with it, and now I'm like scaling that back and focusing more on content that will be able to perform in the future. And I've had a lot of success with like I even do repair videos. I've done electronic repairs, which coincides with thrifting because sometimes I'll thrift something that's broken and then I'll think of, okay, how can I bring this content to make a valuable piece of video for YouTube? I'll do a bunch of research on how to fix it and I'll use what I already know, create a repair tutorial for this. I've been learning a lot about SEO, so I'm ranking a lot better than some of the crap content that's out there, or I'll make it a little bit better with better audio or better video, and then I'll rank, and then that video will now create its own little stream of income because I thrifted that item or I got it from a pawn shop or whatever.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. Um, Fixing your own problems. Like that's and no matter what niche you're in, and no matter what, sometimes that's how I come up with my best video ideas. So like I was doing something for myself or even for a client, and I was like, oh, I should make a video about how I fixed how to do that certain edit because, and those end up taking off instead of just randomly trying to come up with ideas from the ether.
It really is. It's just problem solving. And I've gone through so much of my life without understanding that is one of my strengths. And if I would have realized that like 10 years ago, I think my YouTube would exponentially have already grown. But it took me a decade to figure out, all my friends telling me, dude, you're like a professional problem solver, to like start trying to monetize the problem solving and how patient I am and how I can work with my hands. Like to figure out all these strengths took me so long in my life to where now I'm finally getting traction on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll say throughout. I mean, I follow a bunch of different channels, but yeah, there was something, some unique quality about you that made me subscribe early, and I just enjoy all the different little weird niches and stories and little things you're doing on Instagram and YouTube.
I
Which
appreciate that, man.
yeah, you do have this like
Weird
I don't know
perspective.
what it is. Not weird, but like this cool like problem solving guy that like maybe I would never sit there and like repair like all the buttons on something, but I find it interesting that you do. So I think that's a for anyone listening, they can definitely appreciate seeing your journey, or if they haven't been, maybe if some of this stuff is interesting to them, following along on your journey from here, because I do still think you have a lot of room to grow, and it has been a long journey, but what is your plans for the next decade? It's just
Gosh,
2021.
I got to get that silver play button.
The next year, I think you got it. I think once you get past like 20 or 30, it just kind of like clicks. But yeah,
I'm
it's
so
all
linear though. I'm so linear when it comes to everything. But I think that's good. It keeps me very humble, and I don't know. It's just gonna take a while in the next decade, but I got to get that just as a goal. I guess you have to have some sort of metric, and I got to surpass pharmacy pay with just like truly passive income.
do you still
Like
do
that's a personal.
pharmacy stuff?
No, I haven't done pharmacy in like 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I've worked contracts in the past. Like I worked, if we want to get into like the whole like history of going to college and stuff, I did work Walgreens.
Well, your name is the college picker.
Yeah. I did work Walgreens for 6 months out of school, and then I did some contracts, but most of that was to pay off my student loans and to like save up some money for down payment on a property or something. And I have a lot of investments from some of the work that I had done, but it was mostly to pay back my student loans. Like go to school so you can get debt, so you can work to pay off that debt.
Would you recommend college as the college picker? Well, so I know
It
not
totally
everyone has to
depends.
go as hard as you on the side hustles and
Yeah,
hustles things, but
yeah, you don't have to go to school for 7 years or 8 years. Figure out what you like. It hedged my risk, like it really did. If something doesn't work, if YouTube doesn't work out and flipping doesn't work out, then I can fall back on that degree. And I learned a lot when I was in school. Like I learned a lot about what I do actually with paying attention to detail is what pharmacists are really good at. Like we're really good at paying attention to detail, and they teach you that in school and kind of train you like that. And that's really good for repairing things and paying attention to like little things that are required to recognize quality, or even just doing a video edit. Like paying attention to details like an important skill. It overlaps with a lot of parts of life.
yeah, I think that's a really reasonable perspective.
Pay $80,000 will teach you how to pay attention to detail.
Well, maybe not that thing and the money thing. Like,
I went to a cheap school too. I went to one of the cheapest schools in the nation. If you go to a higher regarded school, it's going to be like $250,000 easy.
yeah. Well, that's the one thing I haven't figured out how to fix either. Is like, how do we fix the school system? But we're not going to be able to fix that today. But yeah. So I think we touched on a lot. There's definitely you still never said your best one flip for fine.
Oh, the best one flip. So is the Type 2 jean jacket, the quilted line Type 2 Levi's jacket. I picked it. I have a video on my YouTube channel where I picked it up. I kind of tell the story about it. Picked it up at a yard sale for $1.50, posted it on Etsy of all places because I wanted the lower fees, the global market, and no competition because like nobody had that jacket on Etsy. It was from the early 50s. Had some messages of people that were buying it to flip it, but I wanted to just hold out for that right buyer, and I ended up selling it for $5,700.
Wow, that was insane.
$1.50 to $5,700. That was my best flip, and I have a picture of the guy who bought it on my Instagram. He sent me a picture. He was in Japan. We had to like talk through translator.
He was a Japanese guy.
Yeah, it was a Japanese buyer.
Yeah, they love the vintage American denim and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if anyone wants to check out, if any of this sounds interesting, check out all these different stories. You can go subscribe to Eric on YouTube at The College Picker, and definitely follow him, The College Picker, on Instagram. I'll leave all the links below. Eric, thanks so much for coming on. Any final things, any final calls to action that you want to get out?
No, thanks for having me. If anyone has any questions about flipping or anything, I'm most active on Instagram. So if somebody sends me a DM, I will get to my DMs. Like Justin gets all his DMs.
Yeah. So closing this out, thanks for everyone that watched. If you do have a question or you just want to get in touch, let us know how you liked the episode. Feel free to message either of us. We're both pretty responsive. And if you enjoyed the show, you can check out the rest of the episodes at the Justin Odisho podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. All your thumbs up, comments, messages, ratings, they all help. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.